Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Movie Morris, where Movie Madness lives. And happy Star Wars months to all you Padawans and Gungans alike. I am Nick. Who are you people?
I'm Drew.
And I'm Tim.
Yes, and today, as for Star Wars month, we are going to be doing the entire Star Wars Skywalker saga. But we are not going to cover all the movies in one episode. We're going to go trilogy by trilogy, starting in release order. Meaning, this episode will be covering the original trilogy, and then the next episode will be the prequel trilogy, and then the final episode will be the sequel trilogy.
Yep.
So as I already said before, we're going to start with the original trilogy, or as it's often amongst called, the OT. And what's interesting too is that me and Drew actually grew up on Star Wars, and we have a lot of fond memories of the movies. Tim, however, this is his first time ever experiencing Star Wars. So I think we should start off with the new guy and his perspective of the oh so wonderful Star Wars trilogy. Tim, what are your thoughts on the original trilogy of Star Wars films?
I mean, episode 4, I thought was okay. Given the history behind, given how it made such an impact alone, that was pretty impressive. I just thought it was okay, but I clearly liked what followed after Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So those were a lot better and probably the most impressive as well. So I would say so. But I don't know. Just for some reason, I just never cared for Star Wars when I was a kid. I only cared about SpongeBob and growing up and among other things. So I did watch some of the Star Wars shows on Cartoon Network at the time with Genndy Tartakovsky's Clone Wars, as well as the CGI ones, but that was it. So I did like Ahsoka, of course, and let's see, there was Asajj Ventress who I have a crush on. So note about that. So that was my whole Star Wars experience before all this.
Yeah.
Growing up.
Yeah. So, are we going to talk about our general thoughts on the old trilogy on the whole trilogy as a whole, or should we just go movie by movie?
Let's start out with like a general thoughts on the trilogy, but then let's go movie by movie after that.
Right.
So kind of like what Tim just did, just give not vague, but like a very brief overview of our opinions on the original trilogy.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll go next. To me, the original Star Wars trilogy is the best Star Wars trilogy, and also I think that A New Hope is an amazing film, although I do think it shows some of its lower budgetness in part in several ways, and you can tell. And when we get to talking about A New Hope, we'll talk about some of the production issues it faced, because I think it relates to how some of it turned out.
Mm-hmm.
I think Empire Strikes Back is hands down the best Star Wars movie, and I also think that it's one of the best movies ever made, period. It's so good. I think I described it to a few people earlier, that Empire Strikes Back, I think it's an absolute masterpiece of sci-fi fantasy cinema. And Return of the Jedi, I think, is really good. Not as strong as the other two, but I still think it wraps the trilogy up nicely.
All right. Well, for me, what can I say? It's the original Star Wars trilogy. It's a wonderful, incredible story about hope and the trial of good over evil. And I think A New Hope is just a classic. I'm just gonna say it. I think A New Hope is fantastic. It is a classic. Empire is really good, though I kind of thought it was a little off in the middle. I'll go into more detail later. Return of the Jedi is also really neat, although depending on what mood you catch me in, I'll either say that first of all, I think in the original trilogy, I think A New Hope's the best one. Simply for it's just a simple story that it's done incredibly well, and depending on what mood you catch me in, I'll either say I like Return of the Jedi over Empire or Empire over Return of the Jedi. It all depends what mood you catch me in. What mood am I in right now? I don't know. I'm on the fence right now.
How dare you?
How
dare you say Empire is slow in the middle?
It's not slow in the middle, but like it somewhat a little bit is, like with the Han and Leia romance on the moon, but
Moon? It's in an asteroid. You know what?
Asteroid.
Asteroid field. Look, we'll get to that when we talk about Empire. Do you want to just segue into talking about A New Hope
Yeah, so I
first?
want to talk about New Hope. What is there to say about A New Hope at Argument 7.4? It is literally, it was not just called A New Hope, it was called Star Wars, or The Star Wars as it was known in the first draft. And it's
Actually,
basically,
actually, actually, I think in the first draft it was called "The Adventures of Luke Starkiller, Episode One: The Star Wars." I believe is what it was called.
well, damn, George.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like with A New Hope, it is just an essential, quintessential action adventure story. I mean, it's literally basically the hero's journey, and yeah, it doesn't do anything special, but it does it so well and so good that you just can't help but love it and remember it for all the lovable characters that come along. Like every character has a good arc of Luke finally getting the hang of the Force and becoming the hero he always dreamed of, and Han becoming the guy who just like, he's only in this for the money, but decides, I'll come back and be a good guy. And
Yeah.
it's just an all around nice and wholesome time.
Well, I think what makes it so effective, even today, but especially back when it came out, was that it was kind of this amalgamation of all these different various influences from mythology to westerns to science fiction to Flash Gordon serials that George
Yeah.
Lucas watched when he was a kid to adventure stories and samurai movies and
Yeah,
all
definitely
this sort
samurai
of
movies.
stuff. And it's kind of like someone described it. It's basically it combines so many of these different influences that it makes them its own.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, it's that's what I think. That's what I love about George Lucas is that he likes putting things. He's inspired by so many things that he generally likes, and in fact, Star Wars itself was pretty much his love letter to cinema through the samurai films he enjoyed, the science fiction serials, the freaking cowboys. Yeah, yeah. George loves his movies, and Star Wars is clearly a product of that.
Hell, the famous Greedo scene where Han shoots Greedo. Greedo doesn't shoot, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know why they changed that. It's so stupid in the special edition. Anyways, that scene is kind of a tribute to a famous scene from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, when he's in the bathtub and a guy comes in with a gun and he's all like, "I'm gonna kill you," and blah blah blah, and he starts talking, and Tuco, who has a gun in the bathtub with him, just shoots him while he's talking. And he's like, if you need to shoot, shoot, don't talk. And it's kind of a send up of that scene. Same thing with that scene when Luke finds Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru having been killed by the Empire. That's
Yeah,
straight out of The Searchers.
The Searchers.
The Searchers.
What's
It's a
that?
famous Western. It's a famous John Wayne movie from the 1950s.
Dang, I don't think I've seen that. But yeah,
And,
yeah, like
and I mean the whole concept of Jedi are basically space samurai with magic powers.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. I think trying to think what is like one of my favorite scenes in A New Hope, because like every time I think about my favorite films, I always think about one scene I point to and go, "Oh yeah, this is the one." But here's the thing, as much as I love A New Hope, I don't know if it's considered one of my favorite films because like again, I always have that one scene I point to and go, "Hell yeah, this one right here." Um but I guess with A New Hope, like here's the thing: A New Hope's been referenced to hell and back, so it's
Hmm.
really hard to say. It's if saying that your favorite team is maybe I don't know the space battle. I guess for me it was probably just the little moments like Han kind of going along with the rescue plan and him and Luke interacting with each other
Hmm.
and
That banter between
the
the characters.
banter and probably I don't know. Just maybe I think more about or maybe the part where maybe it's because maybe it's because I'm a fan of the prequels, but probably when Obi-Wan was discussing the Clone Wars and saying that probably saying that Luke was no Anakin was the best starfighter in the galaxy and only to be killed by Vader. But that's the thing with A New Hope. Like it's been referenced so many times, and if you said that was your favorite movie, people would probably think you're just normal, you know?
Oh yeah.
but I'm not trying to shit on it.
Another the it's another of the influences that I really appreciate because I'm really big into like history and things like that. The way the conflict sort of plays out, and as well as the way the space battles play out, it's
Hmm.
straight out of World War II. With
Oh
the way
yeah.
the ships fight, how it's how the in the space battles it's ship to ship dogfighting with
Hmm.
turrets and all that. Just like hell, one of the big influences on this movie on the trench run was a World War II movie from 1950s. I think it was called 12 O'clock High or something like that. Um, that's another famous influence on this movie because the way the ships fight each other and everything are like straight out of World War II dogfighting movies.
All right. Yeah. That's true. That makes sense actually. Tim, you got. What is your favorite? What was one of your favorite scenes in A New Hope? As somebody who has never experienced Star Wars, what was your favorite scene in A New Hope?
Well, I was expecting Vader to reveal himself to Luke, but for some, I'm surprised that wasn't in there until the later films. I thought it was, I thought, with it, how do I say this? Like, I expected, Vader to reveal himself by the end, and I was like, okay, I thought for sure that was in this episode, but it's hard to say. I wish I had something. Uh, I wish I had. I can't say. I'm sorry. Yeah. Other than just the Greedo scene. So the Greedo scene, and of course the people hate that he shot first when he really didn't. So
Hmm.
so I can understand why fans were pissed. So
Yeah, well, I heard they redeemed that scene with a little thing called McClunky.
No,
what?
they made it worse. No, they made it worse.
Oh, that's interesting. A lot of people like the McClunky change, from what I've heard. I didn't
I
know.
hate it. I hate it. I think it's no pun intended, but I think they McClunky the shit out of that scene with that one.
Okay, that makes sense. Uh,
Yeah, it's like I know this is a whole other discussion. Do you guys want to talk about the changes they made in the special edition just briefly?
I guess we can do it movie by movie later because I
Yeah,
know
yeah. Because
as
I
much as I
think
love
with
A New Hope had the worst treatment of the changes, admittedly.
oh yeah. And they stick out like a sore thumb,
Oh,
especially
absolutely. Like,
when they're in most isolates. Like you can tell it switches from 70s era practical effects to early 2000s
yeah.
CGI. It's
I,
very noticeable, and it sticks out like a sore thumb.
to
Plus,
quote the
there's
master
also
himself, he may have gone too far in a few places.
yes. Um, yeah, and look, I think the whole thing with the special editions, I don't necessarily look if I get why George Lucas would want to go back and touch up some of his old work. I can generally support that actually, because it's nice to see an artist kind of revisit a work and kind of deliver a
Yeah.
new take on it. Kind of like a remaster in video games or a re-recording in music. But my problem is that he never allowed the original versions to be released. And
Oh,
I
that
think
makes
that's
sense.
where a lot of the controversy for the special edition really comes from. Is not necessarily for the changes itself. It's more for the fact that he never allowed the original versions to be released. And I
I
think
will.
that's to be re-released. And I think that's the real tragedy because that's the version that fans originally loved when it first came
Mhm.
out. That's the version that made its imprint on the world back in 1977 when it first came
Yeah.
out.
At least the space fights and lightsabers look much better in the special edition compared to what it was back then. Because George was very limited with the technology he had to work with.
I don't think they changed the lightsabers all that much.
I thought they did, or unless I'm seeing
Nah,
double. Unless I'm seeing double.
I, I, I think you're seeing double.
Yeah,
Because
probably.
I don't think they may have made minor changes, but I don't think they changed the lightsabers.
Yeah.
Especially because in the first one, the lightsaber fight between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan is very very simple. It's just kind of two guys
Yeah, they're just
slamming
going.
sticks.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And hell, if you
I wonder
watch
if someone.
the original trailer that came out for this movie back in 1976,
Uh huh.
it still has like the raw footage in there because they were still editing it due to the production issues that we'll get into and probably get into in a
Yeah, I
minute.
saw the original
But
trailer actually.
it's
It
like
was very on time.
it's literally just two white sticks with like gray hilts.
That's crazy.
And it sounds like plastic hitting each other.
They didn't even incorporate the sounds. They didn't incorporate the
No,
electricity
no, because
sounds.
those hadn't been made yet. Those hadn't been made yet because the film had to be rushed through production toward the
Damn.
later stages. Because as I was kind of telling you, Nick, off mic,
Uh-huh.
the only reason that Fox did this movie was because Alan Ladd Jr., one of the producers for that for 20th Century Fox, liked American Graffiti.
Hmm.
And that's really the only because he was like, I see something in this guy. I don't really believe in this whole Star Wars thing. It's like he read the script. It's like I don't get it. It's like, you know what? I have confidence that he knows what he's doing.
Hmm.
But the problem is the other Fox executives thought this was stupid, especially when I mean when they were shooting in Tunisia, all the Tatooine stuff, they went over schedule because of weather issues and props
Hmm.
not working and all this sort of stuff. So it caused them to go over schedule, which of course also meant as a consequence they went over budget. And you know how much studio executives love that. So they and so when they were shooting, as they were shooting, all the executives every week they would hold a meeting with, in one of their usual studio meetings, and they would ask Alan Ladd Jr., the one bit of support that he had, that Lucas had. He's like, "What's going on in this movie?" And they and they were egging him on. It's like, you should just shut this thing down. This is already going over budget, and all that. Until eventually one time, Alan Ladd Jr. called Lucas, and he was like, "Look, dude, these executives, I next week on our meeting next week, I cannot tell them that we're still shooting. You're that far over budget. You need to get this whole movie finished, the shoot finished in a week."
Hmm.
They had to shoot the last several scenes in a week.
That's
A
crazy.
week. Like they had to just rush production so much. The way so I watched the Empire of Dreams documentary, which is I think the best documentary about the making of the original Star Wars trilogy,
Mm-hmm.
and they described it as breakneck speed to the
Damn.
point where I think George Lucas got so stressed that he had to be hospitalized at one point because it was just that stressful, and it was so stressful that George Lucas he really something that the cast and crew were very open in talking about was that George Lucas he was a great visionary, but he didn't really have much patience for the giving directions to actors part. You guys have probably heard, he's famous for saying to an actor after a take, "Do it again, but faster and more intense." And that's really the only direction that he would give. And so
Really?
the actors were sort of just stuck trying to figure out. So like Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher, and everybody else, they were kind of having to fill it out for themselves, so to speak. And so that's I think what leads to a lot of like some of the hokey dialogue. And I mean I think Harrison Ford even said it. There's a famous quote from him where he was like, George, you can type this shit out, but you can't say it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, hell, even Mark Hamill said during the audition, he was like, "Who the hell talks like this?"
Well, what do you
He
mean
does.
talks like what? What do you mean?
Like how they talk in the movie.
Yeah.
What that nobody talked? Yeah. What, you mean how hammy it was? Like
Yeah,
how forced it felt?
kind of.
Like
Yeah.
you know, yeah, almost so as if people really talk like that. Just the way they're talking throughout the whole movie. Like
Yeah, and the way the dialogue is sort of written and stuff like that.
I still think the scene where Han is like they like kill all the stormtroopers in the prison wall. It's like the station calls like, hey, what's going on there? Oh, nothing, just a little weapon malfunction. Everything's fine under control. How are you? Who is this? What's your operating number? Shoots the thing. Was a boring conversation. Like, Luke, we're gonna have company. I still found that shit funny.
Because it is funny.
Shit! I almost unplugged my mic. So everything's under control here. How are you?
It's pretty normal.
No, like I'm not kidding. I almost unplugged my mic, and we were talking about the freaking like weapon malfunction. I'm like everything's under control here now. How are you? Who is this? What's your operating number? Shoots the computer. Was a boring conversation anyway. Chris, we're gonna have company.
Yeah, I still think, and this is something that I think the prequels really suffer from. We'll get to that next week when we talk about the prequels. Yeah. But I think this movie especially is still kind of, and I think Return of the Jedi has a little bit too. Yeah. But I really want to talk
viewers,
about.
I did not mean to sound grumpy. I'm sorry, Drew. Continue.
I was gonna say something, but you know, it's interesting to me because something that I learned in that documentary is just how the original script for Star Wars was actually an early draft, essentially, of the whole trilogy.
Really?
And yeah,
all in one movie.
Yeah,
Empire, and then New Hope and Return of the Jedi, all in one Pelukia.
And I think he might have even wrote something for before A New Hope too, but I don't think it was super well thought out.
I think it was called
at the time, anyways.
I think it was called The Ghostly Dastard. Dastard with a D. Sorry, I'm making a joke. Continue. I'm making a joke. I'm sorry.
Well, that joke went well over my head, so
it's fine. I probably misheard saying. Anyways.
Anyway, it's interesting that, you know, he talks, because in that scene with Obi-Wan where Obi-Wan is talking about the Clone Wars and all that stuff, I'm like, did George really have the Clone Wars sort of in his mind in 1974 or whenever it is that he started writing this movie?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because that's how back he started writing it, was in like 73, 74. That's when he really put pen to paper, or I guess sat at his typewriter, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, and I think you can clearly tell what a visual visionary that George Lucas is. You know, and something else that I learned from that Empire Dreams documentary is that the camera, I don't know if it was the camera person or the director of photography, or probably both. I don't know if it was the same person or whatever, but they did not get along with George Lucas because something that George Lucas also talks about in that documentary is that he's a bit of a control freak.
Who is?
And so George Lucas.
No, who said that there was a problem with Lucas?
The cameraman.
The camera person. Because the way because they were working with a British crew for a good amount of, like all the stuff with the and the Death Star and all that sort of, all the non-Tatooine stuff was shot at a studio in England, and so they were using a British crew, and and it's kind of standard for the practice, and the way the camera person said it was that George, the director, would tell him, "Hey, this is how I want this thing to look," and then the camera people would figure out how to make it that way. But George
storyboard.
Yeah. Well, I think he probably did. He should have
shot list, because I think that would have helped both the camera people and George.
Yeah, but then George would be like, "Hey, can you put a light here and put a light there?" And then the camera people would be like, "Let us figure it out. Let us figure it out. Let us do our jobs." And so they sort of butted heads because of that.
Yeah. I mean, I want to go back to more. I don't know if you uploaded the episode yet. To one of our episodes, we talked about Hellish Productions, and the last director we talked about who worked for British crew was Stanley Kubrick, and Kubrick had a lot of issues with the crew, especially them taking tea breaks every 2 hours. So it's like, this isn't the first time This isn't the first time a director had to butt heads with a British crew.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Do you guys want to talk about a lot of the? No, not yet. Something else I want to talk about is just how great a lot of like the creature and droid designs are, and how
Oh
they still hold
yeah,
up to
the
this day.
creature and the alien designs. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all practical, of course, because this was before CGI.
Yep.
And it's like a lot of it still looks great. It looks
Yeah.
very, I'm a big, proponent of. I hope I'm using that word correctly. Of practical effects. I'll always side by practical effects over CGI whenever you can.
Hmm.
But damn, a lot of these starting with the droid designs like C3PO and R2D2, they still look convincing. How the opening sequence on the Tantive V4, like that still looks convincing
Oh
to
yeah,
this
the
day. All
opening
of
sequence is
those,
really good.
those miniature models of the ships and all that stuff, it still looks convincing to this day. And
I
you can
I
tell it's
love. Sorry, you first. You done? Sorry.
yeah, I'm done.
I love the set design of the little
Oh
ship.
yeah.
I don't know why. Something about it just looks so otherworldly and cool.
Yeah.
Like the interior, the squeaky clean interior until like the Empire comes in, where it's like it's all smoke and lasers, and
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I think the I like I got we got to show respect for the set design as well. Like the
Yeah.
interior design of like the Death Star and the ships are
Yeah.
just I like them. I like them.
It feels clean, but it also feels very a lot of the set
Otherworldly.
design in this other it feels otherworldly, yes, but it also feels very lived in.
Oh
It
yeah.
feels like something tangible. Feels like this is a part of a universe that people live in, and that
Yeah.
where people exist and go about their lives, or and go about their daily routines and whatever else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I mean, don't get me wrong. A bunch of the outdoor sets like Tatooine and Mos Eisley and freaking like Rebel Base, those look nice. But I think the standouts for me have to be like the ship interiors. I don't know. I don't know what it is about those ship interiors I like so much. They just they just feel right. They feel right.
I should probably mention that the Tatooine stuff was all on location in Tunisia in North Africa.
Okay, including like the bar.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Hey, Tim, what are your thoughts on like the practical effects and set designs? What are your 2 cents?
What on New Hope?
Yeah,
Yeah.
New Hope, New Hope.
Well, I definitely like the CGI a lot better, so it doesn't look so old. So I definitely
Ooh, hot
appreciate that.
take. No, keep going, but
Yeah, well, I just never really found like the older material. It just looks so outdated compared to new, CGI, and just so it doesn't look so outdated. So I do like that. And looks more modern and everything. So because the original
yeah.
puppets and all the old puppets, it just, I mean, even with puppet like that they used for the original trilogy is pretty noticeable compared to the prequels. So yeah, that's what I think of it.
The
So it,
CG that was added in the special editions, or you mean just CGI in general? Like, what? Can you elaborate on that, please? So we don't. I'm a little confused right now.
I like the
Oh my.
CGI better, clearly.
And do you like the CG edits to the special editions?
Pretty much. Well, I don't even know what you mean by special editions. I mean,
And the,
I just
okay, like you noticed there was CGI added when you. I'm assuming you watched the original modern versions of Star Wars, the original trilogy, right?
yeah, yes, that
So give
DVD,
me. So
the
you saw
DVDs I showed you.
CGI. You saw CGI Jabba the Hutt, right?
Yep.
So you
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
actually
looks
like those?
awful.
You actually like those?
Whoa, is there a problem?
No, no, no. I don't have a problem
No,
with it,
no.
but this is the first time I've ever heard anyone say this because like the
Same
general
here.
consensus is that a lot of people don't like the added CGI in the special editions of the trilogy, but I
I'm
personally have
one of
no
those
strong
people.
feelings towards it. Like there's some
Well,
good, some bad, but this is like I'm like, oh dang, Tim, you're bringing the hot takes here, aren't you?
you're talking to the guy who never gave a damn about Star Wars growing up. So yeah.
Fair
So
enough. Fair enough.
Fair enough. Yeah. I will say though, the CGI Jabba scene, I think, is not only is it completely pointless because it just serves the same purpose as the Greedo scene, which is to establish the bounty that Han has on him and
Mm-hmm.
the kind of trouble he's in. And two, I think the CGI I think it was awful, like just awful. because
Yeah.
it's because Jabba, when they originally shot that scene, Jabba had a completely different design. He was
Yeah.
more of a human person,
Well,
and it's like
it was
you,
actually supposed to superimpose a stop motion model over the human. Actually, they were gonna put a stop motion model over him, but they didn't have it in the budget, so they just cut it completely.
yeah. And so when Han Solo goes around Jabba, you can see him so awkwardly walk over Jabba's tail, and it just looks awful.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, I can understand why. I can understand why.
Yeah, a lot of the changes in the special edition for A New Hope, it's like I don't like what they did to the Greedo scene, but at the same time, I'm not going to lose sleep over that. Like, I'm not going to complain about that too much because it is just 1 second. The uh, the other like CGI stuff that they introduced in the most Eisley stuff, it sticks out like a sore thumb. But again, I'm not going to complain too hard about it.
Yeah.
The Jabba scene, though, I will complain about because I think it is completely pointless,
The
and
only thing I will
especially since they left the Greedo scene still in there. So
the only thing I will complain about is probably the monster that walks in front of the screen for no reason and blocks
yeah,
off like the hero's game.
I'll complain about that too.
I guess you could say it's quite literally ass. Pretend I put on sunglasses.
You're so funny.
Anyways, so my final thoughts on A New Hope. Yeah, the special edition has some questionable changes, but honestly, A New Hope is just, it's literally the first Star Wars movie. It's a classic tale, a classic hero's journey.
It's a classic coming of age story.
It's a quintessential nice movie, and story wise, I can't really think of much flaws unless I start nitpicking. But like,
Yeah.
there's not really a lot of flaws to this movie. It's just a nice, simple movie that does everything so well that it's just good. That's my final thoughts. Drew and Tim, what are your final thoughts on A New Hope?
I mean, it's pretty much just an extension of what you said. I mean, it's a very simple morality tale of good and evil. It's a coming of age, good versus evil. It's a coming of age story. It's, I think George Lucas even said in that documentary, it's like, what I attribute to the success of Star Wars 2 is the psychological underpinnings that those mythological influences draw a lot from and really emphasize. So, and also, like, it's just a lot of fun to watch this movie. It's fun to watch ships battle each other and two old guys deal with lightsabers. So.
Yeah. Tim, final thoughts on A New Hope.
Yeah, it was good. I definitely like the CGI. I'm just happy that it has a modern take on it. So I'm just happy that it's
I think he means the special editions. I think.
Yeah, I don't care for the old versions. I just like what's new, so it doesn't look so outdated. So I just like it for what it is. Even if I know that a lot of Star Wars fans prefer the original old negatives and stuff, how it was originally made, but you know what? It's just it's like whatever. If you can update it, that's great for me. Because I just like it that way.
Right.
Look, Tim, I'm just gonna say, knowing Star Wars fans, I think he might be kicking the hornet's nest.
What?
Everybody be nice to Tim. Be nice to Tim, please.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. It'll be nothing compared to when we get to the sequels. But
anyways,
I don't see what the big deal is. I mean, I just like the
Star Wars fans are very passionate.
We'll just say
they're
that.
very passionate.
Yeah,
there was a meme I saw where it was that scene from Pirates of the Caribbean where every character's like holding pistols to each other, and they were like labeled sequel fans, OT fans, Clone Wars fans, prequel fans, Rebels fans, Resistance fans, and then I think one of the characters says, "Hang on, don't we all just love Star Wars?" And they all just start laughing. Yeah, if I find that meme, I'll probably send it in the chat. Anyways, Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, masterpiece.
I think it's a nice movie. So,
Tim, what do you think about? Tim, what do you think about Empire Strikes Back?
Yep, it was a lot better. It was a lot better for certain. I like Lando. I'd say he's my favorite, of course. And
Of all
Everyone
the Star
loves
Wars
Lando.
characters?
and you what?
Of all Star Wars characters or just DOT?
Well, definitely. I definitely like Lando and Palpatine. And definitely like given the prequels I've watched. I just say I'd like both Lando and Palpatine, and I find it strange, that just I don't know why, but Palpatine seems like badass and stuff. Or kind of makes you wish you could become him at some point, but just ruling the galaxy with all your might and everything. Just I don't know why, but being a Sith Lord, it seems interesting to me. So,
Well, yeah, that's it. That's an interesting way of seeing it, honestly. But anyways, Empire. I thought it was a nice movie. I liked it. Not so much as A New Hope for some reason. Don't get me wrong. Empire has definitely improved a lot of things. Like I love the change of scenery. I love the new locations of Dagobah and Hoth. And I actually liked how it had a much darker tone compared to A New Hope. And I thought the lightsaber fight was between Luke and Vader was a huge step up. And
I think this. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think the fight between Luke and Vader in this movie, in my opinion, is the best lightsaber fight in the series. It's my favorite, anyways.
Damn.
Yeah, I love everything about this movie. By the way, before we even start.
Like I said, I like the new introduction to characters like Boba Fett, and I like how they showcase the Emperor. Like, oh, there's a bigger threat than just Vader. That's cool. And I also liked how it showcased Vader's it showcased Vader's power more, not just of him fighting Luke, but just like how he's able to like command authority and respect from not just his soldiers, but just even people like Lando.
Well, with Lando, he probably threatened him.
yeah, he definitely threatened Lando, but
well, to be fair, he threatens the people under him too. So
that's true.
Everybody.
I mean, I'm altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it
any further.
Yeah.
I love that line.
So
one thing I
really have was I don't know why, but I thought the scene where they're hiding in the asteroid was just kind of slow, and yeah, don't get me wrong, it had a point to develop the romantic relationship between Leia and Han, but I think that was kind of going throughout the whole movie from Hoth till the asteroid. Like I didn't hate it. Here's the thing: I don't hate this movie. I don't dislike this movie. And I'm not gonna be like, oh, it's this scene again. Like I just don't really feel a lot for it. Like for me, I like the part. For me, like the biggest character moment was Luke. Was kind of Luke learning to become a Jedi, and then then trying to come to terms with himself. Don't get me wrong. I like from the OT, Han and Luke are probably some of my favorite characters, to be honest. And it was really nice seeing Han. It was kind of cool seeing Han in action and trying to escape the TIE fighters and trying to sneak past them. But there I don't know, some moments that just I don't know, it just kind of compared to like I don't know what it is, but I just didn't really feel much strong feelings. Again, I didn't hate them. It's just like, yeah, they're there.
Man, you both are kicking the hornet's nest tonight.
How am I kicking?
Yeah, you're talking to the same guy who finds Palpatine relatable, and I mean, he was so nice to Anakin.
Why do you say he's relatable, Tim? Why do you think Palpatine is relatable? What is relatable?
Well, he was nice and courteous to Anakin, and he was just acted like a fatherly figure to Anakin when the Jedi Council didn't trust him. So we're talking about
the OT Palpatine, not prequel Palpatine, OT Palpatine. We'll get to prequel Palpatine in a little bit.
Yeah, I
will also say, Tim, the reason that Palpatine is nice to Anakin is all manipulations that he can, so that he could use him when he turns to the dark side.
We need to wait for the prequels to discuss this, but OT specifically, Because when you say Palpatine is relatable, Tim, that kind of worries me. That's like saying that Judge Holden from Blood Meridian is relatable, or how that one time you thought I said freaking Lou Bloom was relatable when I said he was. I said no, he wasn't. You know what relatable means, right?
I don't know, just like being, I don't know, just being nice and just being generous and well, like, you know, how he treated Anakin. You know, that's what I thought. You know, I mean, I didn't catch on to the whole.
We're talking about OT Palpatine, not prequel Palpatine. Like,
sorry.
I mean,
Sorry.
Palpatine doesn't even have a lot of screen time in the OT. Like, he's only like
He's in one scene. He's in one scene in him. He's in one scene in Empire Strikes Back, and he gets a bit of a bigger role in Return of the Jedi. But
yeah, I will say that I just hope that he pretty much got killed, knowing that he set the trap for everything, and hope that, you know, Luke would kill him, but, you know, was kind of hoping for that. I don't know why.
We'll get to that later. We will get to that later. Yeah. Anyways, Empire. But yeah, like here's the thing. Like, I don't hate Empire Strikes Back. It's a nice movie. It is a really good movie. I can see myself watching it again. And again, I love the fight with Vader and Luke. I think it's a step up compared to Obi-Wan and Vader, which is a shame because Obi-Wan's kind of my favorite character in all of Star Wars. But again, that's for a different time. But in OT, you know, like I said, Han's my favorite character. And I think, here's the thing. As much as I keep mentioning set designs, but I mean, Cloud City I thought was just fine. Really, it didn't really stick with me. And like, Cloud City, it looks nice. I like Cloud City, but again, I just like the natural feeling of Hoth and Dagobah.
How dare you?
Okay, Drew's number one Cloud City confirmed.
Here's the thing. Cloud City, I think, makes a great contrast from the environments we saw before in the movie. Well, we start off on Hoth, which is the snow planet. Then you go to Dagobah, which is this disgusting swamp planet. It's nice to see a place like Bespin in Cloud City, where it's like an actual like city, and it's people go about their day and stuff.
I want to point out everything. It sounds like I'm shitting on Empire. I'm not shitting on Empire. I'm just saying, like, I like these scenes better than these scenes. Like, it sounds like I'm reaching for shit to be like a contrarian for the sake of a contrarian. But no, this is just my honest opinion. I like Empire Strikes Back. Empire Strikes Back is a good movie. It's iced.
So what I guess I'll go now. I guess what I like about Empire Strikes Back is that, especially compared to the first movie, it's much more of a character-driven movie. Whereas like the plot is very, very simple in this movie. And there's a lot of moments in this movie that don't necessarily drive it forward, but they develop the characters more. And so I think it's this movie, I think, that really cemented a lot of the characters were great in the first one, in A New Hope, but I think it's this one that really expanded on the characters and took them from like really good characters to like all-time great characters, especially Darth Vader. I think like really? He was a good.
Why does Darth Vader become an all-time great in this movie?
He was a good villain. He was a good villain in the first one, right? He had a unique design. He had that cool breathing sound, and James Earl Jones, fucking amazing, great voice for that. James Earl Jones
is a legend.
Absolutely, R.I.P. James Earl Jones.
Hell yeah.
But with this one, you see Vader a bit more unleashed. Because remember in the first one, when he was choking that guy, for questioning the Force and all of that, it's Tarkin who stops him. But Tarkin's not around anymore because he died in the Death Star.
Yeah,
and so you see the authority. Yeah, so you see the authority that Darth Vader commands, and it's like he's doing things he's going to emotional lengths to, that he didn't go to before because he's really dead set on finding Luke. And of course, the legendary twist that he is Luke's father is absolutely legendary.
What the fuck? Spoiler alert. Just kidding. Keep going.
Come on, man.
I'm just kidding.
Everybody knows.
Did the goofy voice not give it away?
But it looks like that twist is legendary because it recontextualizes what we think about both Vader and Luke.
Yeah, and
especially
what's
about
funny
Vader. Especially
when
about
I was
Vader. Though.
rewatching not Revenge, fucking Empire Strikes Back, I noticed like he simply said that he he would turn. I think he hinted that he didn't have any intentions to kill Luke. He wanted to get him to join him, and then it's
Yeah.
like, wait, why though? Like we see because as I mentioned before, I mentioned this in my opening statement, which I don't think a lot of people more. We see the more brutality of Vader. Vader has more like power and I hate to use this word, but aura to him. That's the best way I can put it. I know I said I hate using that word, but I think that's the best way I can describe it. Like Vader
I
has
think
like
it
a lot
works.
more aura and like he has more power. He has that essence.
Yeah, he's a force to
And
be reckoned with in this movie.
yeah, and what's very interesting too is the him actually wanting to spare Luke and get him to join him. Like it's just like, whoa, hang on a second, hold the front door, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm your daddy. I'm like, oh, like well, I mean, I wasn't like, oh, because here's the thing, like, don't get me wrong, this is a legendary twist, but it's been referenced so many times that it's just like, okay, yeah, okay, yeah, part of
Yeah,
the story.
yeah, but
It's kind of like it's like the ending to it's like those and the ending is so iconic that it just kind of loses its value of being shocking.
well, yeah, but I think that happens with a lot of like legendary twists. It gets
Oh
sort of
yes,
ruined by popular
I can name
culture.
some examples, but I don't want to. I don't want to.
Yeah, but it's like what makes that twist so good is that it adds more depth to Vader's character.
Exactly.
Because like now he has a connection to Luke that we didn't
Mm-hmm.
know about before, and it's like it really makes you think. It's like this guy Vader was once a good guy, then became a
Yeah.
bad guy.
I mean, yeah, and then it even puts more onto the Vader killed Anakin and really no he is Anakin but they elaborate that more in Return of the Jedi and of course the oh so wonderful prequel trilogy, but um but yeah it does add depth to it and I want to ask Tim his thoughts but he left. Tim, come back.
Yeah, sorry, had to clean my ear a bit. So yeah,
That's
well,
all good, but
I was
uh,
listening.
But Tim, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Give us some more. Elaborate more on your thoughts on Empire Strikes Back.
Well, obviously, I love Lando already. He's badass, and I like him very much. And so, what was there? Was there another question you were going to ask?
Yeah,
Or
what was your favorite location within Empire Strikes Back? Because they practically
def,
went to three places. They went
def,
four
definitely,
technically. There was Hoth, there was Dagobah, there was the Cloud City, there was the freaking asteroid. Like, what was your favorite part?
There's
What was your
also the
favorite location?
interiors of the
Cloud
spaceships
City.
too.
Oh, Cloud City.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe Yavin 4. So
That was in the
4.
first one. That was in the first one.
Yeah, we're talking about Empire.
yeah, definitely Cloud City.
Yeah, which is funny. Like I said before, I liked more of the. I don't know. I just like the natural. I like the. I thought the natural environment stuck out more to me because when I think of Empire, I think of the battle on Hoth, the training in Dagobah, and the final fight between Luke and Vader, which I still love the fight with Luke and Vader.
It's so
That is
good. It's
like
so
my
good.
favorite scene in all of Empire.
It's so good. The way not only with are the actual moves themselves that they're executing much more than the first one because it's not just two dudes hitting sticks at each other, but there's also the dialogue between the two is very well done and very well acted by both Mark Hamill and James Earl Jones as well from a voice acting perspective. And there's just more depth to that lightsaber fight compared to the first one. It was just again two dudes hitting sticks.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and you also get to see at one point Darth Vader use the Force to throw things at Luke during the fight, and it's like wow, that's more than just throwing sticks around.
Yeah. Speaking
And
of,
I also love the where that whole reveal scene happens above
uh,
that giant pit. It's such a great setting for a scene like that.
hmm.
I should probably also mention. I think one of the I know one of the popular questions talked about with Star Wars is especially for like people who haven't watched Star Wars. It's like what order should you watch them in? If you don't know the Darth Vader is Luke's father twist, you absolutely should watch the originals first because if you watch the prequels first, you kind of miss out on that. And I think because the prequels do kind of spoil that. But I mean, I don't care which order you watch them in. Watch them in whatever you want. But so Tim, I gotta ask you. I know you watched the prequels first before the originals, but what did you think of that scene when Darth Vader reveals to Luke that he is his father?
Well, it's no surprise, really. It's been referenced so many times in
Yeah.
movies and TV, so it's no surprise to me. So,
Well, did you think the scene itself was effective, aside from the lack of
oh,
a
before all
surprise?
the references, so many times on TV, yes, in a sense, but everyone knew it, even if you're not a Star Wars guy. So you always just see it in parodies and everything. So it's pretty common, trope.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Like I kind of said to Nick a few minutes ago, it's like that kind of happens with most legendary twists, is that they become so
Yeah.
referenced that they kind of lose their luster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wanted to say something, but I completely forgot. Oh yeah, there's like a brief scene where we see Darth Vader without his helmet for like a brief second, but you can see like he
Yeah,
has like a battle scar or something. So I think this implies, oh, did he get into a fight before? Was that from the last movie? And I mean, before the prequels came along, I think it does kind of shine a light at it. Like, oh, maybe this came from the Clone Wars after when he revealed he was the father. I was like, wait, that scar what could that have been from? You know?
well, it also shows the audience that that suit that he's wearing, he's not wearing it for style. He needs that suit in order to survive. If you
Oh
see a
yeah.
battle scar like that, it's like, hey, he probably needs that suit, especially with the way when it comes on him, you can hear it kind of seal in the sound
Yeah,
design. You can
just
hear it kind of seal, and it's like, okay,
yeah,
so he needs that. So he needs that suit in order to sustain himself.
yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I wanted to mention real quick when Vader was burned to hell, like when the suit was on, like, did you guys hear him screaming in pain as the suit was being assembled onto him?
That's the prequels. We're talking about Empire. We'll get to the prequels later.
Sorry.
Yeah, next week. That's next week.
Yep.
Sorry, we're sticking of OT territory right now, and I'm right now. So,
Oh, dude, I just realized how the hell can we get this deep into a Star Wars episode and not talk about John Williams' score?
all right.
We have done a
Okay,
disservice.
because here's the thing though, like John Williams' score is so legendary that, I think like when it comes, I mean, I feel like with Star Wars, okay, this might be somewhat of a hot take, but sometimes John Williams' scores and Star Wars do blend together. But here's the thing: I
Yeah,
do know specific tracks from the movies, like A New Hope. You have like the classic, just have the classic normal, usual sounds. But with A New Hope, I remember there's like the Cloud City escape, da 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 da, da.
that's
And then there's like
Empire.
Empire. I'm sorry, Empire. Fuck.
Come on, man.
Give me a break, man. I'm studying for finals.
Yeah, me too. So
But anyways,
I mean, obviously, if we're talking about Empire, we have to talk about the Imperial March. Probably the
oh,
most.
the Imperial
It's
March, right?
it's arguably the most famous piece of music ever composed for a film. When you really
Oh
think
yeah.
about it.
Da, 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 da,
I will say that when I was watching last night, when I was watching Empire Strikes Back to prepare for this, I challenged myself. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to hum along to any of the music in this movie, and I don't think I've ever failed at anything so miserably in my life.
yeah.
Like even during the asteroid field scene, the da 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 part
Yeah.
as the Falcon is fleeing from those TIE fighters. Like, oh, it's
Mm-hmm.
so good. It's so good.
All right. Yeah. But yeah. Any other thoughts about? Oh, I think we should talk about Yoda. Like,
Oh
here's
my
the
god, how do
thing.
we not talk about
Let's
Yoda?
let's remove our knowledge of the prequels real quick. And
Yes.
what did we all think about Yoda? Now, Yoda, I think, is a very interesting case because like he presents himself as this bumbling old green amphibian before he's just like, oh, I actually know everything about the Force. And see, look what I can do with the Force. I can lift your ship just out, even though I'm a funny little green man.
Yeah, he takes on this like monk like sort of vibe once he kind of
Yeah.
reveals to
Oh.
himself that he's the Jedi Master that Luke was looking for, that he is Yoda. And it's like he's just this character. It's like even just the way he talks, it just sounds so wise and experienced and so all
Yeah.
knowing. It's like you can tell this guy knows so much and has experienced so much in his life. I mean, he's
Yeah.
been alive for like 900 years. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tim, what did you think about Yoda in Empire?
I like him, of course. Yeah, same thing with what Drew said. You know, just some bumbling fool, and then then he realized that Luke is what he is looking for. So
Hmm. Yeah. All
well, Luke
right.
was
Yeah.
looking for him. Luke was
Yeah.
looking for him, not the other way around.
So one thing,
All right.
one thing that confused me as a kid was the cave scene in Dagobah where Luke saw himself as Vader. I'm gonna be honest. I back as a kid, because honestly, as a kid, I was more familiar with. I grew up with the prequels, but then like when I mean I saw the OT too. I grew up on the OT as well, but like I thought that was Anakin for a second, but. I'm gonna be honest. I was like, oh no, Luke sees himself as Vader because he either might become Vader or Vader is somehow related to him.
Yeah,
Or maybe I misread that.
it foreshadows the "I am your father" twist, but it also shows that Luke is susceptible to the dark side. I mean, hell, he right before he goes into that cave, Yoda says to him, "Is like, hey, you won't need your weapons," but he ignores that advice anyways and takes his weapons anyways. So it's like
Mm.
it's showing that he's being tempted by the dark side and isn't ready to be a Jedi yet.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
that's also plays into when he gets visions of Han and Leia being harmed by Vader. It's like both Obi-Wan and Yoda like, hey, don't go, don't go, don't go. You can't fight Vader. He will toast you. He's only an experienced Jedi can fight Vader. But he goes anyways, and it's like not only that, but Yoda. Part of Yoda's teachings is that the Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack. So what does he do? He goes to face Vader, and he's the one who strikes his lightsaber first, not Vader. So it's like it shows that he's going there looking for a fight, and he's not ready to be a Jedi yet. Because that's not what Jedi's do. They don't go in looking for a fight. They go in wanting to diffuse the situation peacefully, and then fighting is sort of a last resort, sort of a defense thing.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, that's all I got really about Empire. Empire's a really nice movie. I like how it takes a more darker tone, just revealing that the Empire is a much bigger threat than we ever anticipated for. Yeah, the rebels had a victory, but the Empire always has something up its sleeve. And I love
They
again,
strike back.
I like the action in Empire Strikes Back too. I think the action in Empire is very cool.
The Battle of Hoth, like
Self-report. We forgot to talk about the Battle of Hoth.
it's so good though. It's so different though from the trench run in A New Hope, because that was like the only big battle we got in A New Hope. It was like here it's different because not only are we not in space, we're in this frozen snow planet, but it's like it's a different kind of fight because they're going up against the Empire equivalent of tanks, right? With those AT-AT walkers, and they're using the cable to take them down and stuff. And it's
that's cool.
I also really like the sequence after Luke's speeder is shot down and he's trying to get out of the speeder, and you have the AT-AT walker coming in about to squash him. And it's like he gets out just at the last second before the AT-AT walker squashes him. I like that sequence. It's very nice and suspenseful.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
They're called AT-ATs.
Okay, thank you. But I'm surprised Luke
managed to... I pronounce them as AT-AT.
I do too. But anyways, I'm surprised Luke managed to run pretty fast to get like to another hangar after throwing a bomb into that AT-AT, TAT, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, to be fair, we only did see that one hangar, so.
Yeah, yeah, it's like damn, either Luke's really darn fast, or maybe there was a second hangar. But but other than that, like I said, Empire is a really cool movie. It's just a nice movie. It's nice. I like the action better.
It is a masterpiece.
Yeah. Anyways,
and it is the best. Right. And Empire Strikes Back is, in my opinion, the best Star Wars movie.
Tim, closing thoughts on Empire.
Yep, I really liked it. Definitely liked it. A big improvement. I loved it. And because it had Lando in it, and it was pretty badass, and it got some good stuff going. So it had me excited. Definitely.
Oh,
All
I should
right.
probably. I know we're about to move on, but I should probably ask one since Tim mentioned Lando. How do you guys feel about the way it was treated? How he betrayed Han and the crew, sold
I'm
him
gonna
out to
be.
Vader.
He didn't
Yeah.
exactly have a choice, so
No, he didn't
He
have a
admits
choice.
he admits several times he was very sorry and like he felt real shame and then like he definitely tried to redeem himself like all right
well, he didn't have a
let's go
choice.
get Han. Oh no, we're too late. Yeah, but like
Yeah,
he even tried to make up for it going all right, we'll go get Han. We'll be on Tatooine or whatever.
yeah. But I think Billy D. Williams is so good in the role as Lando.
Oh
He
yeah,
comes up.
definitely.
He comes off. It's very. It's you can see how him and Han are friends because he's much like him. He's a smuggler. He's a gambler. He's very suave, right? Especially
Yeah.
the way he talks to Leia for the first time. It's like he comes in like very suave. He's like, he comes like, "Good Lord, what have we here?" you know.
I thought you were gonna say, "Good Lord, what is happening here?" Like Seymour Skinner. That's your Superintendent Chalmers. Good Lord, what is happening there? I'm sorry. I thought you were gonna. I was like, why is he doing a Simpsons reference?
I'm not doing a Simpsons reference.
I know.
You're thinking I'm doing a
Correct me if I'm
Simpsons
wrong.
reference.
This was Billy D. Williams in the Blues Brothers, or am I thinking of somebody else?
I think so. I didn't see the Blues Brothers, but
I love that movie. I'd love to talk about one day.
yeah, I think, or maybe it was Carrie Fisher who was in that movie. I don't
I know Carrie Fisher, in fact, was in Blues Brothers.
Okay, yeah.
I'm at it. All right, later. Anyways, yeah, that's close. Everybody, don't their closing thoughts on Empire. Unless Drew, do you want to say one more? Empire is so good ever.
There is nothing wrong with this movie. Maybe I'm just biased because like even when I was a kid, it's like Empire was always my favorite when I was a kid. I mean, I grew up in the same generation as Nick, obviously, and you guys,
Yeah.
but it's like I know a lot of people from our generation, they have a lot of nostalgia towards the prequels, and it's like I'm the opposite. It's like even as a kid, I always remember preferring the originals over the prequels. And well, aside from Revenge of the Sith, at least, but it's like even as a kid, it's like Empire was always the one I would always put on the most. I mean, I'm pretty sure I had the VHS, and I'm pretty sure I wore it out. So, oh, the carbon freezing chamber scene when Han gets put in the carbon, gets frozen in carbonite, like that. I mean, that scene is so good. I mean, do you guys know that line from Han Solo when Leia says "I love you" and Han says "I know"? You know that was improvised.
No.
It was improvised. In the original script, it said he was supposed to say "I love you too," but Harrison Ford was like, "I don't know if Han would say that." And so Irvin Kershner, the director of this movie, who by the way was at one point George Lucas's film professor at USC, um, he was like, "Okay, just improvise something." And he gave us that line, and it was Harrison Ford who came up with that line. And then Irvin Kershner said after they got the take, he was like, "That's a great line, Harrison," because it is a great line.
Oh
It's
yeah.
amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. And yeah. So we're ready to talk about Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, let's talk about Return of the Jedi.
All right. So the final film in the Star Wars original trilogy.
Yep.
Return of the Jedi, I think, was really nice. It was a much lighthearted return to it was very lighthearted. It was like that light after the storm kind of deal, like
Yeah.
as in like all the bad things that happen in Empire to the good guys. Han gets captured, Luke loses a hand, they lost Hoth, and now they're just like, hey, let's go rescue Han.
Well, I mean, think about it in a three-act story structure. The first
Exactly, yeah,
act is, the beginning, right? The hopeful beginning. The second one is like the dark, stuff, right? Part where everything goes
yeah,
wrong. And then the third act is the climactic final battle where the good triumphs over evil.
yeah.
So
Yeah, Return of the Jedi I think was really cool. And like I said, depending on what mood you catch me in, I might either prefer that over Empire Strikes Back. But the current mood right now is that I like Empire more. Current mood right now. That nobody better ruin it, or so help me. Drew's gonna get mad because I like Return of the Jedi more. Anyways, so that's my general thoughts. Drew, what are your general thoughts?
I think it's a good movie. I don't think it's as good as I said at the opening statement at the beginning of this podcast. It's like I don't think Return of the Jedi is the best Star Wars movie. I think it's the weakest of the trilogy, anyways. Having said that, though, it's still a good movie. Wraps the story up nicely. There's a lot of. I love the conflict between everything with Luke, Vader, and the Emperor is amazing. Ian McDermott is great in the role as the Emperor. I will say though, the middle part of this movie, I think, really kind of stalls. I think, if you ask me,
The what part?
like the middle part of the movie, when you get to the parts with the, the part when they first meet the Ewoks and Luke and Han are about to be cooked because they think C-3PO is a god. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
From that part up until the time the battle starts is kind of when I start to tune out. I think it's very kind of, it's just kind of dull, is my point. Like,
Interesting.
other than that, though, I also think the sequence on Tatooine, they could have shortened that up a little bit. I think.
What sequence of Tatooine? Though there was a whole freaking arc going on Tatooine.
All of it could have been shortened
Really?
up a little bit. I think
the freaking Han rescue scene.
Yeah, it should be shortened up just a little bit. I mean, they all come in. They all come in like one at a time, and it's like okay.
I mean, the only issue I have with Tatooine was probably the fight with the big giant monster in the cage. Like for some reason,
the Rancor.
Yeah, for some reason, something about it just fell off. And of course, the CGI special edition where they added that creepy-looking dance segment.
Yeah, that might have been it for me. That might have been what I'm talking about. That could have been cut out from the movie entirely.
That could have been cut out. But Tim, what are you doing?
I need to get my tea again. If it's cool.
I thought you already got your tea.
He needs more.
Personally, I prefer blue Coruscant flavored drink from Coruscant bars.
Well, there's that blue milk in the first one in A New Hope. Remember?
All right. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know, man. I hear Coruscant has better health quality. With the exception of that one guy selling death sticks. But anyways, that's the prequels. OT. Tim, I will get back to you when you are done getting your tea.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for it.
Well, until then, I'm gonna begin yapping about Return of the Jedi. But
sure thing.
I actually kind of thought it was pretty interesting how the rescue scene played out. Where first R2D2 and C-3PO were given and be like, all right, give us Solo. No, okay. Leia rescues Han Solo because she snuck in. Oh, turns out we caught you. Then Luke shows up. Hey, give me Han. No, he makes a nice wall. No, and then Luke gets like dropped into the pit, and then it's like, all right, y'all are going to get eaten by a Sarlacc pit, which I think the Sarlacc escape is amazing. I like the Sarlacc escape.
I like that sequence too. I will say though, with the first two movies, you kind of hear about Jabba the Hutt. This guy Jabba the Hutt. Well, if you don't watch the special edition of A New Hope, I should say, you know, because Han is on the run from Jabba in the first two movies, right? And then it's nice to kind of finally see him. You know, to finally see what he looks like. So that's cool.
Yeah. I agree. Anyways,
I also say I think the design of Jabba's palace is really cool. It's like this really cool, very underworld, very like that's not a place that I would want to be caught in.
Oh, absolutely.
You know? Yeah. It looks like a place where a lot of like dark stuff goes down, and of course you have. I will say though, when Jabba first captures Leia, there's this one part that's pretty gross.
It's the licking scene, isn't it?
It's just like, for some reason, I'm just like, because the way it's just kind of shot and everything, it's just like, is he Jack in it or something? Like,
Wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Leia was dressed pretty skimpy.
well, that's before she even gets put in the slave Leia outfit, which I'm sure we kind of have to talk about because that's pretty
Yeah,
infamous.
I mean, what is there to talk about? It's just a slave outfit. Some people
Yeah.
got their first boners. Some people just saw it as cute.
It was a bit weird, but
Well,
I guess it makes sense for a gangster like Jabba the Hutt to do something
oh
like
yeah.
that.
I will say, I know there's one thing I think it's more infamous. It's not really infamous, but there's a YouTube video where someone was playing Lego Star Wars: The Original Trilogy on, I think, one of the consoles. It was the console release, and there's apparently you can make Slave Leia dance by the band, and there's one guy who comments that he pleasures himself to that video every year. Like every year he comes back saying, "Yep, still choking the chicken."
Well, what
The
direction is
Lego
this
slave.
episode going? What direction is this episode going?
Let's clearly into a Sarlacc pit. Anyways, terrible YouTube comments aside. By the way, we love you, YouTube comments. Heart emoji. Anyways, but I love the escape from the Sarlacc pit. Like
That's a well
that
done
moment where like
sequence, yeah.
Luke signals R2, you know shit's gonna go down, and then when he like leaps, the music drops once he like grabs onto the diving board and goes back up, grabbing his lightsaber.
And that's your first look at his new lightsaber, the green lightsaber. First time we've ever seen a green lightsaber in Star Wars. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and just like, and I will say, as much as I love that scene, it was very silly how Boba Fett just died. Well, not really, because Disney.
Okay, I should have said this in my Empire section. No, I guess I can say this is a negative about Empire. I guess I don't know. Not really negative, just something I don't get. But I'll be honest. It's my turn to kick the hornet's nest now. Boba Fett is one of the most overrated characters ever.
Damn.
I'm just gonna say it right now. I don't get it. Like I know people think his armor looks cool, and I guess that's it. I don't even think his armor looks that cool, to be honest. Maybe it's just the color of it. I don't know, but I don't know. Boba Fett just never did anything for me. And so when he got punked in that Sarlacc escape scene, I was just like, whatever.
I thought Boba Fett put up more of a fight in that, but honestly, my memory doesn't serve me right. But I liked it because it was just
he just got hit from behind by Han Solo. He didn't even know he was there. He was shooting. He's like, Boba Fett's there, and he just turns around, and like boink, and then he just flies off into the Sarlacc pit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that makes sense. But I still like just all the action that went down, from Luke like killing the guards to the power getting cut off to Leia just like, all right, I can use it to my advantage. Die, Jabba. And then
I really like that's how Jabba died. I like that's how Jabba died, because it's kind of like he's getting his own comeuppance, right, for doing this shit to that.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and then like it's just so awesome. I love after they get out of Tatooine, Han's like, I guess you owe me. I guess I owe you one now.
Yeah.
Like that was such a cool banter, and also Lando and Han reuniting, be like, hey buddy, you were trying to help me, cool.
I mean, I do kind of a bit. There's a couple of missed opportunities, I think, in the screenplay in this movie. That's one of them with Lando. It's like the last memory Han has of Lando is him being betrayed by him. It's like you'd think you'd be a little mad still, so since he's been in hibernation and carbonite for the past however long it's been since the end of Empire Strikes Back.
It was I think Han was treated like very silly in the Tatooine segment because of just how he's blind, ha ha ha. Like I get this was meant to be more comedic. Before I elaborate more on Return of the Jedi, Tim, since you were getting tea, I need to ask you, what were your general thoughts on Return of the Jedi?
Definitely, a huge ass improvement. I liked it the whole way through. A lot of action, it just didn't disappoint. It was the best out of all three of them, of course. No doubt about that.
Why? I'm sorry, you first.
What?
You first. I interrupted. You first.
The point is, it's the absolute best of all of them about it, and I just liked all the action. You know, Lando, of course, being badass, and you know, everything up to that point has just been nothing but awesome sauce. It's hard for me to describe it in more professional terms, but you know, it
What
just
exactly was an improvement? Did you feel was an improvement of Return of the Jedi over Empire? Like
the act
what?
the action, like, you know, while New Hope was just a bunch of talking, you know, I almost fell asleep through half of it until there was more action, like, down the line. So yeah, it was just
I can understand that. I can understand where you're coming from.
Well, all that talking is
Anyways,
all that and talking though is important for world building though. So
exactly, exactly. I guess speaking of Lando, Tim, what did you think of him piloting the Falcon while Han Solo, Leia, and company were on the ground, while he was just basically commanding everybody? As what'd you think about that, man?
it was badass.
it was
Yeah.
badass.
I think it
agree.
was really cool how like he was telling his co-pilot to have faith in Han, and Han was doing his best down in Endor to like freaking disable the shields. And speaking, I'm gonna detour real quick and say for some reason as a kid there was two parts in Return of the Jedi that disturbed me. Well,
Okay.
the first one was Gonk Droid getting tortured, like his feet getting burned for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that's a real life medieval torture method.
Probably.
And then the second one was like when the mini AT-AT walkers. What are they called again?
AT-ATs.
Not the four-legged ones, the two-legged ones.
Oh, AT-STs.
AT-STs. Like there's a scene where the AT-STs are like killing the Ewoks. Well, not killing them, but they kill like 2 or 3 Ewoks, and like one Ewok just goes up to him going, "Huh? Like help! No, he's dead!" Like, oh shit.
Yeah, I'll be honest. You know, the Ewoks are one of those things that used to divide a lot of people about this movie, but I didn't mind them. I did kind of hate them when I was an edgy teenager, but now as an adult, I'm like, they're fine. They serve their purpose. You know, I don't hate them.
I have no
I don't think because I know a lot of people their biggest problem with it was like, oh, how could these teddy bears take down a technologically superior enemy? I'm just like, you know, there's historical precedent for that thing happening, right?
I was gonna mention that. Was that partially inspired, but was that not inspired? But was that like a parallel to Vietnam?
There's a lot of things in the whole series that are parallel to Vietnam. I mean,
I thought
if
it
you
was
want
just World War II, not Vietnam.
I mean, George Lucas has even said that the Empire was sort of envisioned as the U.S. in Vietnam, and that the rebels, to an extent, but especially the Ewoks, were like the South Vietnamese, like the North Vietnamese and the Viet Cong.
You can see like the Ewoks being very resourceful, using the Force to their advantage, like unleashing rock traps on the stormtroopers, using like 2 logs to crush an AT-ST.
Yeah.
Like, that I thought that was really cool on like my rewatch.
I will say
it was kind of funny. Sorry, can I come first, please?
Go ahead, go.
I think it was really funny how like there's 2 scenes where an Ewok is like climbing on top of an AT-ST's foot, trying to like beat the hell out of it with like a rock, and then there's like they try to do like the cable rope thing, and just like it fails, and they just get dragged along. Like I thought that was funny. Like when I rewatched that, I chuckled.
I will say though, something that doesn't get talked about enough about the Ewoks is that there's a few moments, they're kind of like you blink and you miss it kind of moments. Maybe not that, but you know, at the end of the movie when they're celebrating on all that, do you guys know that there's a shot of the Ewoks playing drums with stormtrooper helmets?
I thought that was only in the Lego games.
No, that was in the actual movie. There's a part where he's. Do you know what that? Do you know what that's implying? Especially since they tried
to beheaded the stormtroopers.
Yeah.
I didn't think that was real. I thought that was only in the Lego games. Did they remove it in the special edition, or they also, or is it?
No, it's in the movie. Just watch that ending sequence again. It's there.
I've seen Return of the Jedi so many times that I don't remember. I only remember it in the Lego games, but not the freaking.
It was in the actual movie. It was in the actual movie. I'm not bullshitting you. It was in the actual movie.
That's crazy. I'll get to the ending soon, but I guess I want to save the ending for the ending. But
Yeah,
what did you all think about the twist of Leia being Luke's sister?
that was another sort of missed opportunity in the screenplay. I think. I don't necessarily dislike the twist. It's more that's like you have Luke telling Leia that hey, we're brother and sister. I just wish there was a
Yeah.
bit more of a realization on Leia's part that
I agree.
that also means that Vader is her father.
To
That part
me,
specifically is kind of what I'm getting at.
that makes sense. To me, like I feel like they were trying to capture a in a bottle twice, because like that reveal that Vader was Luke's father was such a big thing. Like, were they trying to do that with Leia? Because I just wasn't feeling it. Sorry, I'm leaning back. Like for two all the viewers at home, my mic is kind of taken up like at the center of my screen. I just leaned back so much that I practically disappeared from
Yeah,
the
well,
view. But anyways,
I think in
but
the
the point is
original
like
in the original version of Return of the Jedi, like in the initial script, Luke's sister was originally supposed to be somebody else entirely. But then Gary Kurtz, who was, I think, co-writing it with George Lucas, left the production, and so Lucas basically he wanted it to connect, and he wanted everything to connect and be in like a nice little bow, so to speak. And so he was like, "Hey, let's have Luke and Leia be brother and sister." I mean, you can tell that he didn't really have that whole thing thought out when they were doing Empire
yeah.
Strikes Back because of that one scene. You know what I'm talking about, right? The one on
Yeah,
Hoth. You know that when Luke found out from Obi-Wan that Leia was his sister, he probably sat in his X-wing for like an hour with his Jedi mouthwash, washing his
yeah.
mouth.
I think they made a joke about that on Robot Chicken
Yeah.
as well.
There's even
Anyways,
I know we're not getting into like expanded universe territory here, but in one of the Star Wars books, I think from a few years ago, there's even a part where Han and Luke are talking about that, and they remember that, and they vow to each other never to speak of that again.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
But I definitely feel like it needed more time to actually breathe and expand. But I will say, I actually did like the part where where Luke tried to question Obi-Wan. Why didn't you tell me that Vader was my father? I was like, oh, I told you it was true from a certain point of view. Because I mean, it is true. Anakin was theoretically was not
Killed,
theoretically,
quote
but
unquote.
figuratively killed by Vader. Like Anakin Skywalker is dead because all that remains is Vader in Anakin. But Luke's like, nah, he didn't kill me. Clearly, there must be some Anakin in him.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just see what he thinks about sand. We'll get to that later. But anyways, I bet when we record the prequels, I'm gonna be quoting nothing but prequel memes.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that was interesting. Like how that was never. Because, like, in Empire, Luke was very disappointed. He's like, why didn't you tell me, Ben? Why didn't you tell me Vader was my father? But when he finally does, it's just like, why didn't you tell me? Like, I technically... why? I told you it was true, though. But I didn't mention the father part. But, yeah. Anakin wasn't... Anakin technically was killed.
Yeah.
Anakin's dead, but not literally.
I mean, just imagine if Obi-Wan had told him the entire truth, right? And Luke was like, "How did my father die?" And Obi-Wan would just be like, "Well, I left him to die in a pit of lava." Like, just imagine that.
Yeah.
But I did
Once
think,
again,
yeah.
There's a siren outside my house. Oh, they fucking found me. I'm just kidding. anyways, back to Star Wars.
Yeah.
Tim, what are your thoughts on all this so far?
On what?
The Luke and Leia being,
about, like,
Luke and Leia being brother and sister part. That's kind of what we initially.
Yeah, that was a bit of a dirty trick. Yeah, it was just weird, and just felt so forced and unnecessary. And and I believe that Luke and Leia kissed one time. So
yeah, and Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, so
they didn't know. They didn't freaking know.
Yeah. It's okay.
I will
I'm
say,
sure. Like I said, I'm sure they got plenty of Jedi mouthwash.
yeah. I will say, as much as I love like I love like certain moments of Empire, and I love the escape Empire, Return of Jedi. I love certain moments of Jedi, and I love the escape sequence, but for some reason the action just didn't really like kick it as much compared to Empire, or
I mean,
even
I like the space battle at the end, plus the duel
oh yeah, the
between
space battle's amazing. I think
the duel between Luke and Vader with the Emperor in the background.
oh
You
yeah,
know,
that was
that
so
was
cool.
awesome. That was cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that was actually really cool. I like how like in the moment where like Luke is watching with Vader outside, like I like how there's like build up before the actual fight. Like, oh look, your friends are dying. Maybe this will get you a chance to join me. And
Yeah,
just like, oh, I'll probably kill your sister too. It's like, oh no, I'm unleashes his lightsaber because like he wants to protect his family. They know hasn't turned dark.
yeah. And
And
he
then of
he
course,
gives in to his dark side impulses in that moment. And it's
yeah,
like what I
which
really
it all ties
what I
nicely to Empire.
what I really like about that particular fight is that it's. Remember how I said during the in Empire Strikes Back when Luke was the one to draw his lightsaber first. He's the aggressor in the fight. Here it's the other way
Yeah,
around. Vader is the aggressive one, and Luke is just straight up refusing to fight until Vader threatens Leia. And it's like, but
yeah,
throughout the whole fight, Luke is just refusing to fight outside of defending his blows. Like he doesn't attack him once up until that part at the end when
yeah.
he gives in.
Mm-hmm.
It shows that Luke has learned what the Jedi is about. That they're about peacefully resolving situations, not about
Uh-huh.
fighting, not about attacking. Attacking is the dark
Yeah.
side thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, what was Luke gonna do? Was he just gonna sit there and just do nothing, like as he watched his friends die around him? I mean, what was he supposed to do? Like, just
He was resisting the pull to the dark side. That's what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, just
I
even
mean,
though
he couldn't do anything about the space battle going on outside. Like he
yeah,
couldn't do it.
it was well,
Yeah,
it was all a trap.
he's not that one guy from like Star Wars: The Force Unleashed where he like force pulled the entire Death Star.
Yeah, Star Killer, I believe the guy's name.
Yeah, Star Killer. But anyways, I think the space battle for me, Lando being the pilot and commander, I think carried that. Like I love seeing Lando like be just kind of being the commander and guiding a whole fleet of ships. Against the Death Star too. I thought, and him saying like, "Hey, I knew Han could do it, man." Like, and him just kind of being very, very like just having a good time piloting it, and just kind of being a good faith leader. Like, "Hey, I will follow this guy in the battle." You know, I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Admittedly, though, that being the story being centered around another Death Star is a bit lame, but I mean it worked.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I think I've mentioned a couple times that I think a few times I have said online that I'd like Return of the Jedi better, but right now, like I said, now it depends on what mood you catch me in, and the mood I'm saying is that I like Empire better. So,
I'm trying to think.
anyways,
I'm trying to think what else I want to add. I think, like I kind of mentioned before, I think Ian McDermott does a great job as the Emperor. You can tell just how fucking evil he is with the way he
oh
talks
yeah,
and with the way he talks and just how he looks.
mm-hmm.
He kind of looks like the Grim Reaper a little bit, except with more
Oh
flesh.
yeah, yeah.
But I also really like the opening scene with Vader and the that one commander guy. I think his name is Gerard. I think.
Yeah.
But because that's a pretty accurate description how corporate visits go in retail.
That is absolutely 100% true.
Yeah, but yeah, that scene is great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not sure what else more I have to add. I think it's a really good movie. I think that has some dull parts to it, but
Oh,
overall, it's a good movie.
I got a couple things to add. This might be a hot take, but I actually liked the addition of the other planets being free from the Empire,
I
and
do too.
I actually kind of like the ending song. I actually like the special edition ending song better than Yub Nub. Don't get me wrong, Yub
Let's
Nub is
go!
cool. I like it. It's
Let's
cute. It's
go!
funny, but I like the special edition song better.
Oh my
'Cause it
God,
just
same
feels so
here.
hope.
Same here. Let's go. Victory
Hell yeah.
celebration all the way.
Yeah, like it just sounds more hopeful. That good thing. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, Yub Nub, it's cool. It's cute. It's funny. It's Ewoky. But like, the Victory Celebration and the Special Edition song, it gives hope that things will get better in the galaxy. People will be happy. People will be peaceful. This is a new era of peace. Like,
And it has
it's so.
and it has a nice melody to it too.
Oh, absolutely. And I think they even yeah, absolutely. Also another hot take. I didn't mind the fact they got Hayden Christensen as a Force Ghost.
And especially, I'm a bit iffy on that. I mean, okay, I get it. You want to connect the things to the prequels, but it's like, I don't know, because I think, well, what I don't like, I guess, is George Lucas's justification for doing it. Because what he said about it was like, well, that was the last time that's what he looked like the last time he was good. I always find that excuse to be kind of weak because the last time he was good was when he threw the Emperor's ass down that shaft. Like that's the last time he was good.
I guess that makes sense. Like, don't get me wrong. I
I
definitely.
mean, I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal, but you know.
Yeah. No, I actually understand where you're coming from. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying it's better than the original guy who played the suit. Like, I get that. Like, I understand he should definitely be respected. But,
Yeah.
mind you, Hayden Christensen said he had absolutely no knowledge of being CGI'd into the special editions. He literally said that.
But you know, I thought the death of both the Emperor and Darth Vader I thought was handled really well. I love how when after Darth Vader leans back as he dies, you can hear a very somber version of the Imperial March playing, which I think is cool.
Oh,
That whole scene with him and Luke, though, as Luke takes his
it's
mask off, it's so emotional.
He's like, "You've already saved me."
Yeah. Because had he lived, there was no way it was going to be peaceful. But they would have tried him and executed him. You know?
Yeah.
But I also think the death of the Emperor was great too. How Anakin just throws him over the. I hate though in the special edition that as Vader goes to pick up the Emperor, he yells no. I'm just like,
and because he's saying no.
Because in the original cut, he didn't say anything. He just picks up the Emperor and threw his ass over the railing.
I think he said no because he couldn't stand the thought of seeing his son die.
He didn't need that. He didn't need that dialogue though. It was all set up just fine. But yeah,
well, I like that. Better that way.
Really? Why so, Tim? Elaborate.
Well, him shouting that, you'd shout that too if your relative was close to dying too, and throw his ass off the shaft as well. So
you're saying it's more of an emotional reaction to
yes,
seeing Luke getting nearly killed.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
And also, how did Vader get electrocuted as he grabbed Palpatine? How did that happen?
If you see the lightning is coming down onto him. He's getting electrocuted. That's why he dies. Is because of all that electricity, and it shuts down his suit.
His hand injury.
I thought that was just from Palpatine's hands, like that. So how the heck? What did he catch the electricity?
Because
how did Palpatine cast electricity? He's a Dark Lord. He can manipulate the
Force.
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider unnatural. Oh wait, I just did a prequel meme in the freaking OT episode.
Like, did Palpatine attempt to resist being thrown off? Like, did he try to struggle and get Vader off of him, or?
Come to think of it, I don't remember.
Really, I think what it is I think it was the gravitational pull on the Death Star is what pulled the lightning down. So
interesting.
And it went through Vader and it shut down his suit. That's why he dies, because he needs that suit to breathe, and it got shut down because of the electricity, and so that's why he dies.
Sense.
I mean, I didn't think it was all that complicated, or I didn't question it, but
I just thought that Palpatine just relied on the lightning to try and kill Vader, but then Vader's like, nah, you get tossed down a pit.
Yeah, and it was amazing to see him get tossed down that pit, and he should have stayed dead, but we'll get to that in a few
Yeah.
weeks. We'll get to that in a few
Well,
weeks.
Talk about that in a few weeks too.
Well, I think that Palpatine knew that his legacy would live on. So if he got thrown, I'm surprised he didn't just laugh as he was being thrown down. Instead of like,
don't
We'll talk
give
about later. Later.
and also don't give them any more special edition ideas.
Oh boy. Anyways, so one more thing I want before we talk about our conclusions, I want to say there's this meme I saw where it's like, hurry Luke, I haven't got much time. So once the helmet comes off, Vader's like, okay, so there's this guy called Darth Plagueis, right? Oh boy. I want to give a heads up to our viewers. Drinking game. Take a shot every time I quote a prequel meme for the next episode. Next episode.
Oh God.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm gonna hold off on that because I know a brilliant way to begin the prequel episode, but we'll wait. We'll wait for that.
Yeah.
Anyways, closing thoughts on Return of the Jedi. Return of the Jedi is a really nice conclusion to the original trilogy and the Skywalker saga in general, but that's another story. I think it's really nice. It's a lot more lighthearted, and I love how all the characters come back a lot more optimistic and prepared. And I love the escapes from the Sarlacc pit on Tatooine, and I think the ending overall is just super nice. Like I forgot to mention this before. I love the part where Leia says to Han, I love him, and I love Luke. And then Han's like, oh, I won't get in the way. And he's like, oh no, are you kidding me? He's my brother. And it's like, oh, that makes sense. And they just,
I was watching that. I was watching Return of the Jedi today, and you could tell by Han's reaction, and when Leia goes, he's my brother, and he just looks off to the side. I made a joke to myself. Oh, he's thinking about that time on Hoth, huh?
But it's like he said. It's like he said in the EU that it's like never again.
Yeah.
Anyways,
speaking of Han and Leia, one moment I do want to mention with them that I really liked is that after Leia gets shot by a stormtroopers kind of surround of them behind Han, and Han is kind of looking at her, and she pulls out the blaster from her jacket or whatever, and Han just looks at her and goes, oh, I love you. And then Leia says, I know. In the reverse of what they said to each other in Empire Strikes Back, Han moves out of the way and she shoots the two stormtroopers like the badass she is. So great.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that is so cool. But anyways, yeah, Return of the Jedi, it's a really nice movie. I love how it gives that optimism, like, hey, you can come back regardless of how bad things are. And it's just a nice movie. I love the ending. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. Return of the Jedi is pretty cool.
I mean, what you said. I don't have anything to add to
Tim,
that.
closing thoughts on Return of the Jedi.
Tim?
Oh, I thought you were talking to Drew. Well,
I said Tim, unless Drew changed his name, but yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah,
I mean, I loved the teddy bear villagers. I felt bad for them as they were getting. I felt bad they were getting brutalized and decimated. It was just hard to watch. Honestly, I just love those teddy bear Wookiees or whatever they are.
They're Ewoks.
Ewoks. I don't know. They're just so cute and stuff. I just felt bad that they were getting trampled and everything. And I wonder if I'd be surprised if any of them really died during the battle. So I mean,
you can probably look that up on Wikipedia. Yeah, it's a real website. It's Wikipedia.
I know it exists. Yeah, it exists. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, okay, so before we conclude this episode, what was everybody's favorite movie in the OT?
Empire.
For me, it was A New Hope.
Return of the Jedi.
What was your favorite? Oh, we got the whole freaking trilogy here.
Yep.
Damn.
Yep.
That's impressive. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what else there is to say about the OT that's already been said already. It's a
Other than that,
nice
it's
series.
amazing.
Every film is its own individual adventure.
But
They're really amazing, nice, wholesome watches.
outside of that one iffy thing with Luke and Leia, the kissing thing and then being brother and sister, outside of that, it feels like a one big cohesive story, which is
Yeah.
great.
So I guess this will cut it for this episode. This is our longest episode
Oh
yet,
yeah,
clocking at an hour and 40 minutes. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, and tell us what you thought of these movies, what you thought of our opinions, or just whatever, anything goes. And as corny as this sounds, we will see you hopefully next time, assuming Drew actually uploads this in time before May ends.
I
As
will.
crazy as this will sound, may the force be with you.